Well, good morning, gardening friends. It's Vicki. I'm over at my terrace garden, and I'm going to actually plant some things today because it rained all day yesterday. The highs in the next couple days, the high in the next couple days is only like low 70, and we're getting more rain coming up here in a couple days. So I think it's a good time for me to sneak in some new plants, and I want to catch a quick before shot. The garden's looking pretty. I'm a little bit disappointed to see that deer must have come by and eaten most of my tulips. I'll show you. I see one right here. That one wasn't even there last time I videoed. But all of the ones up here, you can see that all their little heads are bitten off. The salvias are starting to look really pretty up there. Oh, and I do see iris stalks shooting up now, so that's good. I was concerned that maybe I wasn't going to get iris this year for some reason. Okay, that's it. Wanted to shoot this quick video. Oh, my goodness, Aliums are starting to open. They're so pretty. And then I will get you guys a better, longer video after. Secret's here with me today, too. And let me show you this. The neighbors across the street put in a little playground area. They do like a daycare at their house, and it looks like they're going to be adding a fence around it. So, yeah, so you'll probably hear that going on in the background. All right, but I'll talk to you guys here in a little bit. Got some work to do. Okay, I'm kind of finished with the work I'm going to do today. So, lots of things are starting to come up. I just thought I'd show you that before I show you what I planted. So this is some astilbe that is coming up. More there. There were like way more plants planted, so hopefully more is coming up than that, but that's what we've got so far. Then right here we have various oriental lilies. This is my pink Ito peony that I planted last year that the squirrels kept digging up, but it did successfully make it through the year and come back, so that's really exciting. I don't know if it'll flower this year, but we'll see. Here and here are clumps of pink veronica. This is boxwood, and it looks like maybe deer ate some of it. I'm trying to figure out how that happened. I have a rose bush here with a peony, I think it's a pink one, in front of it, and then some kind of bulb growing up through it. I'll have to sort that out. And then this right here, I always forget what it's called. It's eventually going to get like 10 feet tall, and it has big pretty leaves and like a wine color flower. I want to say it's like calamanthus sweet shrub or something like that. I'll find the name and put it on here. This is one of my climbing roses from last year. The other one I cut back further because there was just more dead on it, but this is the pretty and pink Eden climbing rose. They get these humongous pink blooms. They're really pretty, but you know what I experienced last year is that the deer eat my flowers. So again, once my fence is rebuilt, I will be moving the roses all to the back behind the fence. I've got another pink peony here, some iris. Again, I've explained on other videos, but I got these from a person who had bought a house in Omaha, and they had never seen them bloom, and they wanted to get rid of them. So I still haven't seen them bloom. I planted these last spring, and they did not bloom for me. It might have even been like the fall or summer before last year, and they didn't bloom. But I'm hoping they're going to bloom this year because I really want to know what color variety they are. And I don't see any stalks, which is disappointing. Any flower stalks. But this area is a little bit more shaded than my terrace, which is in full sun. So perhaps they are just further behind, and might still send up stalks. I'm just now getting stalks from the ones that are in full sun. So Another, I believe, pink peony. This is another clump of iris that I bought a few years ago, and I planted it somewhere that wasn't sunny enough, and I waited a couple years and it didn't bloom, so then I moved it last year, and I've never seen this one bloom either. I think this one is like a mixture of pink and purple and yellow, kind of like just a lot of different colors in the iris. Another clump of irises there. I don't know why that one's so much shorter. Just some boxwood and stuff like that. Okay. I cut this back, but I did not cut it back this hard. I'm going to go back and look at my last video. I think somebody else, like maybe the people that are coming in to do the repairs, might have done that, which would be shocking because why would they mess with my plants? But I'm not too worried. It's a little bit upsetting, but maybe I did it. I don't know. I need to look back at my last video because if it doesn't look like this, then I'm going to need to talk to them about, hey, don't just randomly cut down my plants without asking me. But that will grow back. That was a black lace elderberry shrub. All the roses over here are pretty much cut back. Not the best. I'm not an expert with roses. I really only started with roses last year. And again, the tree fell in my house. I didn't have water. The deer are eating my roses. So I just have not had the greatest experience so far. But I'm fully confident that once my fenced-in backyard is available to me, I will be able to grow pretty roses. So I'm just trying to keep them alive and not stressing about it right now. I did get this whole hedge thing cut back. I've explained before, I don't know what kind of shrub this is, but I really don't like it. I don't feel like it was well placed, because if you're sitting on the porch and you want to look out, if this hedge is not cut back, like it'll come up to like here, and then it just kind of blocks off the rest of the neighborhood. And I personally like the view of the houses and the trees and everything. Like I want to see that. Sorry about the planes. Also, shout out to JJ. I can barely see it, but he tells me that my terrace reminds him of one in front of a church, I believe where he lives. And I wanted to show him that I actually have a view of a church steeple from my house. And sometimes we can hear the bells playing. And it's actually pretty. It's kind of hidden now that the trees are starting to leaf out, but in the wintertime you can see that church spire much more clearly, and it's nice. Anyway, shout out JJ. Thanks for commenting on my videos and watching my videos. You were the one of two people that got me really excited about roses. The other one was a man named Darren. I don't know his last name or his channel, but he's got beautiful roses. Anyway, this area still in works. Obviously I need to still weed and everything. Just ignore that. This is part of my metal stairs that I'm going to be putting down here. I'm just very slowly working on this project, so sorry, that will eventually get done. I was so gung-ho to do it, and then I discovered that my ground was hard as a rock over winter, and even when it's thawed out now, but we've had so little rain that it makes it just about impossible to do anything. So I am going to finish that. I'm planning to hook another piece here to run it across so that it goes all the way across, and then I'm hoping to add one more layer down there, but I only have 3 more pieces total because I put one of them down there to stop my mulch at my neighbor's boundary, and then I'm planning to put another one down there, same thing, to stop my mulch where my boundary ends. So that's going to leave me with, I think, 3 more pieces. It's fine. I'll just get more eventually because I plan to use that once my backyard is available and the work is done on the house. I'm going to be using this kind of corrugated steel to make some pathways, and I want to put gravel in and stuff. So that's going to be probably my next big project for next year. But anywho, just going over the middle terrace here. Sorry about my shadow. Let me see if I can get in a better position. So, along the leading edge, we have the lamb's ear, which is you know, it's starting to bounce back. We just got a good rain, and with the heat coming and everything, it will just explode. Like, I fully expect this lamb's ear to fill in this entire front of my terrace probably by this summer, definitely by next summer. Planted in here, I've got my Russian sage bed. I have 3 more at the other house that I'm going to add in here to like make it thicker. Thinking about taking this out. It's just like this pretty reddish pink clover, and I do think it's pretty, but it's starting to spread, and I'm getting it kind of in other areas, and I don't really want it everywhere, so I'll probably end up taking that out eventually. This is the orange lilies that I'm going to be taking out. They're the invasive type. I don't know their scientific name, but they're from Asia. So I think that they're really pretty. I'm sad about it, but I decided it's the best thing to do is to remove them. So I'm going to let them bloom this summer so I can see one really pretty show with them in my garden. And then I'm planning to replace them in this area probably with Gaillardia. I think that's what it's called, blanket flower, which is also orange and similar height, and it's a perennial and a native for me, and so that will be an awesome substitute, and I want to just have a large swath of that there. I'm also going to do the same thing down there where I have another patch of that orange lily. This plant right here is goldenrod, which some people consider a weed, but it's a native plant in my area. It gets beautiful yellow flowers in the fall, and I personally like it. I have considered moving this out. I might move some of it out, but I'm just not worrying about it right now because I can't really water and transplant all that stuff. A couple weeks ago, I did move some penstemon. That one is not looking super hot. That's the biggest clump. Hopefully that makes it. But this one right here is looking just fine. This is I think it's called Giganta or something like that. It's like a bigger leaf penstemon. It's kind of like a thick waxy leaf. And then, I don't know, so I've got like, I think those two are the same type, and then there's actually another type somewhere. I don't remember. There was like 4 or 5 clumps that I planted in this area, so those will hopefully be coming up soon. I told you guys that I planted a ton of anemone bulbs. Those are anemone windflower. They're not a native for me, but they are dare resistant and they're pretty. I'm pretty sure they're not a native. I'll double check on that. That would be awesome if they were. But anyway, I got like 60 red and 60, well, they weren't red. They were like a Merlot, I guess. They're supposed to be a red with blue undertones, so they kind of look like a wine color. Anyway, I got like 60 of each, white and red, so that's what these little guys are, I believe. I'm starting to see these pop up everywhere, so that's what that should be. Then I also have a bunch of stuff that I don't really know what it is. I think this might be the wild 4 o'clock. I'll see once that gets bigger, because I get those in this terrace every year, and I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And then I believe I might have, is this daisy? I think this might be my daisy kind of self-seeding, because I've started seeing these little flowers coming up in multiple different areas, and I know that my white daisy patch was in here somewhere. So I like that. Again, I only have a couple tulips left that the deer didn't get. This big guy right here is a yellow verbascum or mullein plant. And so is this one and those two. And then I have another one over there. And I think there was another one down there somewhere. But those get tall, yellow, just like vertical, spiky flowers. And I think that they're really pretty. I like that it self-seeds because they just kind of randomly pop up, and it gives it a very natural look. So that's great. As I said, my purple irises are starting to get their flower stalks. So here shortly we will start having our iris show. Okay, let me hop down to the next terrace. Here's my Artemisia. And I said this on a last video, but I believe that this is a baby of the one that was right here that just like all of a sudden died last year. And then I read online that these are kind of short-lived, but that they do typically reseed. So I guess that's good. I'd like to keep it going. And I remember that the one that was there kind of grew over the side a little bit. And this one's even closer. Like it's literally in the cracks leading up to the edge. So this one should definitely grow over the edge, which will look really pretty. All right, moving down here. The peonies are getting pretty tall. Definitely seeing buds on those, so we are going to get flowers. I was questioning whether they were planted too deep, but both of them do have buds. My sage plants are starting to get their green growth, and I don't know if you remember, but they turn into basically like a huge shrub looking thing right here. My lavender are growing back from the base, and I've seen green growth on every plant now except for one. So I think that they did transplant successfully. I added some annuals, some dianthus, kind of throughout this bottom terrace. This right here is another type of Artemisia. It's the mountain type. And what I like about this one is as the summer goes on, it will start growing it spreads out a lot. Like it just creeps through the other plants. And I have one on this side and one down there on that end. These are Aliums. It's catching a bunch of water in there. Hopefully that doesn't rot it or something, but they're starting to get their little bulbs. This plant is a winter euonymus, winter creeper euonymus. I'll probably get rid of this eventually. I think I read that it's invasive, but last year I had sage next to this plant, and then right here where you see these dead sticks, I had a patch of purple prince, which is an annual, and it was so gorgeous. The differences in color and texture of these plants with my hardy hibiscus, which is right here, and it's starting to come up from the ground. I have some oregano transplanted right there. There is a couple little live parts that I dug back there just to make sure, but if it doesn't do super well, I also have some right here, so I could dig this up and add to the clump if I needed to. This is, I think, dragon's blood sedum. I have so many sedums, I don't know the names of all of them, I'm sorry. And then I've got kind of a large grouping or swath of purple veronica. This is wormwood artemisia. I love how this looks like a fern, and it kind of grows almost over the edge, and it's full sun, but it has that ferny texture, so that's really cool. I just planted these today, so they are going to look a little bit droopy. Reminder, I don't have water at my house. I know it's kind of crazy. It's a bit of a risk to plant something new, but it rained all day yesterday. The high today and tomorrow is only 70, and so the ground is wet. And then it's supposed to rain again 2 days from now. So I'm thinking this will be okay. I will check on it, and if I need to bring over, a few gallons of water just to water it, I'll do that. Another thing that I planted today are these ice plants. Those pretty. I tried ice plants last year and they actually died on me, so hopefully these do okay. But they definitely add that little pop of color. And I like at the front of my border here, I try to put things that are like sedums or like things you would find in a rock garden, cactuses, stuff like that. So once these allium leaves die back and everything, then you'll start to see the sedums are going to shoot up and get tall. The hyacinth are already starting to die back. I should probably dig those up because I'm not going to remember, and then I'll have to wait a whole nother year to do it. But I'm kind of feeling over it today. What is this? Like I left a clump of dirt and mulch there. I'm just going to break that up. These cactuses over winter, they get like this, like they look like they're totally dead and shriveled. And then as soon as the sun gets on them, look at these. They perk right back up and they get plump. And the discoloring goes away. So it's the weirdest thing. Like we're in zone 5B or 6A. And it gets down to like -20 here. The past couple winters it has. And I'm just so surprised at the amounts of plants that can live through that and come back like nothing happened. What else did I do today? I planted a bunch of, let me read you the packet. Okay, so I had a bunch of nasturtiums. These jewel cherry rose are going to have kind of a berry red color, and I planted those kind of interspersed up here on the middle terrace. I chose the middle terrace for those because these are 16 inches mounding and they're bright. So you're going to see them better up on that second terrace. And then I had two other types that I planted down here. So Ladybird Rose is a 12-inch mounding type, and it is, I would say the primary color is yellow, but it also has some, if I remember correctly, some peachy tones to it. Anyway, all right, sorry about that. I planted those yellow ones kind of in what I would call my rock garden area. So they're, I can't remember because they were just seeds, guys. But they should kind of be sort of central here in my rock garden area. I chose this area because I also have some other yellow coming up, which is this, I think it's called King Edward or King James yarrow. I'll look it up and try to put it on the screen. But these stay short like this and they get the cutest little flowers. I thought they were adorable. And I found a bunch of them on clearance last year, so I picked up several. I've got one there, one there, one here. Looks like maybe two there, or it grew bigger. Another one there. I thought I had more than that, but maybe they didn't all make it through winter. There's one there if I didn't point that out. Anyway, I also have like 4 more at my other house that I found on clearance just like a week ago. So they look really terrible. They were just about dead, but I'm growing them at the other house where I have water and I can like nurture them back to life and stuff. And then eventually I'll move them and add them to this area. Also planted by seed that you can't see right now, but you will see in the future. All along this leading edge area, kind of intermixed in between all of this rock plant type stuff, I planted creeping thyme. So that will eventually start coming up too. And then one more thing, these kind of look dead, but there is some life to them. This is a plant that I divided and moved from, it was down there, it was white. I think it's called a Iberis. I want to say candy tufts or something like that. Anyway, because I was transplanting the lavender down there and I was copying the same thing on that side, I didn't want to have that little shrubby white bush thing down there, that flower, because it just would make them not match on both sides. And it stays somewhat short, like about 1.5 foot at tops. So I decided to divide it and then just add it to my front leading edge here. Like I said, I'm always trying to find things to plant along the leading edge that stay short so that I can stop the mulch and the dirt from running off of my terrace. So, there's that. Gosh, what am I not telling you? I think that's just really it. But I mean, I'm just excited that the Aliums are looking good. The salvias are blooming. They're looking good. Sadly, my tulips mostly got eaten, but otherwise, it's really starting to come to life. And I think my next video is probably going to include the iris, and then we're really going to be full steam ahead from that point. All right, my dog's starting to bark. I should probably go. But nice chatting with you guys. Oh, I forgot to mention I planted some little annual dianthus. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye now.